Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get set for race number 2 of the NNSCRA Indycar Series, Gaming Indycar Series, I should say. Getting ready for our first speedway race of the season. Last week, they kicked the season off at the road course of St. Petersburg. Today, we are here in the heat of the desert. This is Phoenix International Raceway, and you can see that the drivers are in their speedway cars rather than their road course cars. The way you can tell the difference is especially looking at that rear wing, that rear spoiler. The rear spoiler usually is much higher in the air when it comes to road courses. It allows for more downforce. This type of wing that is flatter and lower to the ground allows for more speed. As we are going to be getting set momentarily to get the command to fire the engines, Kev Shearer lines upon the pole for this one. Shearer finished 17th last week at St. Petersburg, so he's looking obviously to jump up in the point stands, and a win certainly could help him as he's going to have a good starting spot. It's going to be your starting lineup here. As alongside him is going to be Cole Baker in the 8. Baker finished top 5 last week at St. Petersburg in the 5th position. Second row is going to comprise a couple of teammates. Jonathan Zorlin on the outside of the one of Nathan Ormond. And you've got the next row, Jay Jefferson, who was involved in that spin last week, ended up finishing way at the back. He's 21st out of 22 drivers in the stands coming to this race. Alongside him, Matthew Rodriguez. Then it'll be Eli Bright. He'll line up alongside of Tripe and Vernio, a couple of drivers that are outside of the top 10 the points coming into this race. Pichu London finished 3rd last week. He rolls off alongside of Charles Jackson. Matt Haas alongside of Zach Flickinger. Then it'll be Carson Gum and last week's winner at St. Petersburg, Noah Kars, starting mid-pack. Jordan Lopez will start alongside of Jake Rogers in the 98. Jacob Rose alongside of Alexander Rowe. Austin LaPlante finished 2nd last week. He's starting close to the rear of the field alongside of Chris Dodd. In the final row, it's Mason Wood and Johnny Gardner.
Start your engines.
And there's the command to fire him up. Johnny Gardner starting he's starting 21st in this race, and he was the only driver so far this season to record a DNF as he had an engine issue at the drop of the green flag last week at St. Petersburg. So obviously with the win, Noah Kars is the points leader coming into this race. He has a 3-point advantage over Austin LaPlante. Pichu London 3rd, Chris Dodd 4th, Cole Baker in 5th. That due to them all finishing in the top 5 at the completion of last week's race. Today could be a much more different race though, with it being a speedway and with them running the speedway configuration on their cars. We'll find out. Let's roll. Cole Baker and the pole sitter going up the racetrack the least little bit, and that's going to allow Nathan Ormond an opportunity to the inside line for the top position. Kev Shearer now drifts back, and they are almost 4 wide back around him. Matthew Rodriguez to the inside there. They are almost 3 wide. Cole Baker trying to stick his nose in the middle, and they will go 3 wide here into turn 1. This all going on behind the leader, Nathan Ormond. Careful, Baker slides up. There may have been a little contact there with the tires, and this is good battling here for that 2nd position, but Nathan Ormond enjoying the view. 3 wide again, this time up the middle. Zach Flickinger in the blue car, trying to get between Matthew Rodriguez and Kev Shearer. Make it through as Baker moves to 2nd, Flickinger into 3rd. So nice power move by both Baker and Flickinger using the middle group to be able to move up into the 2 podium spots. And contact, 1 car way up into the wall, almost airborne. There's 2 cars actually involved here. One of them there is the Hitachi machine. That is the 3 of Jonathan Zorlin. Tripentacchio Vernio was the other. Caution will wave. And Nathan Ormond will lead us back to our first yellow flag. And I'm pretty certain that if we go back and look at the replay, I'm pretty sure that Zorlin caught some air there out of turn number 2. He may have gone up into the catch fence. Somehow only 2 drivers involved in this one as we're under a caution for the first time here, completing lap 3 onto lap 4. And Jonathan Zorlin finished 19th last week. Vernio, who finished 11th last week, both were looking for good runs today to counter their mediocre runs last week, and it doesn't look like it will happen for them. There's Zorlin now coming to pit lane to the attention of his crew, and they are going to try and get that car fixed. Vernio didn't even come to pit road. I am surprised that 3 car is not out of the race, but he may not be on the lead lap when we go back green. So Nathan Ormond shows the way, and did we have some pit stops here? Nope, Kev Shearer just took a little bit of time catching up here, apparently. So with Nathan Norman showing the way over Cole Baker and Zach Flickinger, let's take a look at a replay of what happened out of turn number 2. Let's start back here in the entry to turn 1. That's Alexander Rowe, the yellow car on the inside line in the 22. Oh, and there you see right there, it looks like Zorlin got a little loose in the center of the corner, slid up into Vernio, and Vernio had nowhere to go, and boy, up and over goes the 3 car, not once but twice. Somehow comes back to rest on all 4 tires. That's certainly a blessing there, and Vernio just nowhere to go, caught up there on the outside line and squeezed into the wall as well. Wild ride there for Jonathan Zorlin, which makes it even more incredible. They're going to try and get that car repaired and back out onto the racetrack to try and salvage a finish here. So that's to put us under the caution for the first time today. Let's go back now for the restart. Green flag will come back out on lap number 8 of 32. So according to my calculations, we should have 25 laps to go here at Phoenix. Jonathan Zorlin brought his car to the attention of his crew. Looked like they were trying to do everything in their power to get him back out there, but apparently the damaged 2 terminal, and they have taken his car back behind the wall, so he will finish 22nd here today. Certainly a rough start to the year for Jonathan Zorlin and that team. 19th last week, and they will finish 22nd here this week at Phoenix. So as we get ready to go back to green, it's Nathan Norman, the race leader. Cole Baker in second. Third place will be Zach Flickinger. Kev Shearer started on the pole, drifted back to 4th. That's where he'll restart. Alexander Rowe in 5th, and it's Matthew Rodriguez, Eli Bright, Jacob Rose, Jake Rogers, and Matt Haas. That will be your top 10 for this restart. Single file restart, so you wonder how long it's going to take them to get back into a double wide battle. Green flag back out here at Phoenix. Top 3 get away by a little distance, maybe 2-3 car lengths, then back to Kev Shearer, who now is under fire. That battle is on for 4th. It's now over. Alexander Rowe moves to 4th, and here comes Zach Flickinger up ahead. He's going to go for 2nd off of Cole Baker. 3 wide further back. They were. That was Matt Haas, Jacob Rose, Eli Bright, all in that group. And in a 3 wide formation heading into 1, they settled it back out to double wide. Jacob Rose, 6th last week at St. Petersburg, trying to fight his way up here towards the top 5 in this race. Matt Haas there, that DHL number 28 on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to pick up spots, finished 15th last week at St. Petersburg, and they're all hounding the pole sitter Kev Shearer. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is on. Zach Flickinger to the inside on Nathan Norman, trying to take that top position. And Alexander Rowe fighting his way up now into the podium position, bypassing Cole Baker. That was for 3rd. Flickinger again going to try using the inside line here. Ooh, what a nice move to get up just in front of Nathan Norman. That was cutting it awfully close, but he pulls the slide job off and clears the nose of the number 1, who now finds himself in a crossover situation. And Alexander Rowe says, let me be part of this. They're going to be 3 wide down the front straightaway, going into 1 in the battle for the lead. Just like that, Flickinger, who was out in front, now finds himself drifted back to 3rd. Orman still in 2nd, and Rowe has jumped 2 spots up to the race lead, showing the way here at Phoenix. And that battle there, that 3-wide battle, brought Cole Baker back into the picture as well. He's there in 4th. Looks like he may have thoughts about trying to get by Flickinger for that position. And as these 4 have been battling, they have been able to kind of grow their distance back to 5th place, now currently under possession by Matt Haas. The battle for 6th is on. That's Matthew Rodriguez to the inside of Jacob Rose. And how about Johnny Gardner? He's now cracked the top 10, now working his way by Kev Shearer. That would be for 8th place. Gardner, who suffered a DNF last week at St. Petersburg, the only driver to finish out of the race in the season opener, started back in the 21st position. He has methodically worked his way into the top 10, looking for more as he's now gotten himself up to the 8th spot. 6th place, just up ahead here as the battle is on for it between Jacob Rose on the inside and Matthew Rodriguez on the outside. All this behind the 5th placed car of Matt Haas. Up front though, Alexander Rowe got to the front and he has been in control of it ever since. Nathan Ormond right there in second, Zach Flickinger in third. Neither one have really been able to mount a charge either for the battle for the lead or for second place. And Cole Baker just kind of riding around there in that fourth position, just kind of letting whatever happens here. And the caution is out for the second time today, so that changes everything. These drivers just riding around, and I say that word tentatively, ride. But now they will all be bunched back up, and we'll prepare ourselves for another restart. Not necessarily certain what this caution was for. Looks like we may have had another incident off of turn number 2. There's Tripataki Vernier. There was a car that hit pit road, and that's Jake Rogers in the 98. So Jake Rogers appears to be the reason for this, our most recent caution. Finished top 10, 9th place last week at St. Petersburg, did Rogers. And it looks like he is the reason for our second caution of the day here at Phoenix, just at the halfway point. So with Alexander Rowe out in front, let's take a look at a replay. Well, battle for position here. That was between Jake Rogers, and the blue car up top is Carson Gum. Jake Rogers got to get really squirrely there in the entrance to turn 2, and right up into Carson Gum, up and rides the blue safer barrier. Car comes back down on all four wheels. He almost collected Pichu London there. There's Austin LaPlante. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's not Austin LaPlante. That is Jay Jefferson going by. It's hard to tell the two Ganassi cars apart without being able to see the number on the wing. That's LaPlante there going by. Along with, I think that's Chris Dodd in the 7. Two-car incident involving Carson Gum and Jake Rogers brings out this caution. Another wild ride here at Phoenix for a driver, and that trouble spot seems to be right there in 1 and 2. Drivers having a lot of difficulty if their car is ill handling of keeping the car from drifting up the racetrack. Jake Rogers, the latest victim here at Phoenix. Well, we will get the restart with still only one driver out of the race, that being Jonathan Zorlin. Jake Rogers returning back to the racetrack, but he will be a lap-down machine, and that will cause us with a double-wide formation on the front row anyway, with Alexander Rowe on the outside. Nathan Ormond lines up behind him with Zach Flickinger, Cole Baker, and Matt Haas being your top 5. That caution was a godsend for a number of drivers who were at the back of the pack and were losing the pack. Austin LaPlante, Chris Dodd, and Charles Jackson now all back up here with a chance to maybe move themselves into the top 10. If we get into another green flag run, the green flag is back out, and they make very quick work of the slower car of Jake Rogers. He's getting out of everybody's way. Zach Flickinger goes to the inside, contact to himself and Ormond turns the race leader Alexander Rowe. The top 3 spin, and this is going to be a big wreck here at Phoenix. Everyone's piling in. Rowe is up and on his lid. Vernio doesn't even have a right front tire anymore. LaPlante second in the points is in it. There's Matthew Rodriguez. Rowe is still driving somehow. Look at the 63 of Tripataki Vernio. There is no right front tire on that machine anymore. And there is Nathan Ormond, the top 3 wreck in turn number 2. How Vernio is still able to pilot that car and turn that car, I don't know. Zach Flickinger was up in the top 3. He was involved. And a big multi-car wreck here brings out our third caution of the day, and as a result, the lead is inherited by the guy who was running in the 4th position at the time, the 28 of Matt Haas. And what a drastic turn this race just took. The 3 strongest cars who were all out in front for a majority of this race, just like that, they are junk. Caution out. We will have less than 10 to go when we go back green. Matt Haas inherits the race lead now, and I mean inherits literally, as the top 3 wreck coming off turn number 2. Big time wreck here for our third caution of the day. Let's take a look at a replay. Well, if this thing went into a long green flag run, no telling what kind of an opportunity Zach Flickinger would have had to try and take the race lead. So he took the opportunity here on this start, and he just drove it way too hard through the corner. Gets into Nathan Ormond. That moves Ormond up the track, and then he gets Alexander Rowe in the left rear. And there you see they just all go around. And unfortunately, they all just kind of blockade the track up as well. There's some contact there. Cole Baker got involved. Some left front damage for him. There's Matthew Rodriguez. There is, I think that was Kev Shearer's 34 car. We'll look up here further and see the drivers that were involved here. I think Alexander Rowe may have been the one that got clobbered the most. So we'll bring the replay back a little. Yeah, Rowe goes down onto the apron, and then the car drifts back up the racetrack into the racing line. Wow, what a miss there by Jacob Rose. Jake Rogers just gets clipped. Yeah, that was Kev Shearer in the 34. There you see, I think that was Mason Wood and Pichu London getting a piece of it. That's Chris Dodd, Jordan Lopez. And look at the tire fly up in the air on the right side of your screen. That's the tire, that right front tire that was missing off the machine of Tripe and Vernio. Austin LaPlante there on the inside lines. The tire comes back down to rest on the apron. Matthew Rodriguez you can see there as well. So we had anywhere from 10 to maybe even 12 drivers involved in this one, and some drivers we didn't even realize that got collected were involved. That brings out our third caution of the day, and I think the garage area may be filling up. I think Zorlin is going to have some company as we get ready for what could potentially be our final restart of the day. Green flag will come back out with 8 laps to go in this one. Matt Haas out in front. Cole Baker in second. I question how up to speed that 8 car is. He got some pretty extensive contact with the left front of his machine, so we'll have to see on this restart. Then third place, Johnny Gardner. Fourth is Jacob Rose. Fifth is Eli Bright. Last week's winner, Noah Karas, got through the wreck. He's up to 6th. Kev Shearer 7th. Carson Gum got involved in that wreck earlier on with Jake Rogers. He's up to 8th place, though, with Charles Jackson and Pichu London completing your top 10. After the incident, though, these drivers out of the race, Tripe and Vernio, Nathan Ormond, Austin LaPlante, and Alexander Rowe. So LaPlante will take a big hit in the point standings. Finished second last week, came into this race second in the points, and with a DNF here at Phoenix, he will certainly drop a number of spots in the standings. But we still got to finish this one out here at Phoenix. Matt Haas gets us back underway with 8 laps to go here at Phoenix. Top 6 break away because Jake Rogers was between Noah Karas and Kev Shearer, so not up to speed. That's going to split the field up a bit, and here comes Johnny Gardner to the bottom of the racetrack on Cole Baker. Gardner finished dead last week. He'd love to be able to reverse that this week with a win. Tries to get to the inside of Matt Haas. Can't quite do it this time. Jacob Rose right there with him, though, in third. And don't count out Eli Bright. He's back there, and Noah Karas looking for 2 in a row. He's there in the 6th position. Gardner looks to the bottom. Maybe a little contact between himself and Matt Haas as they race down the dogleg back straightaway. But Gardner is to the inside. He'll have the position going into turn 3. Question is, can he hold it? Yes, he can. Slides up in front, moves Johnny Gardner to P1, and here comes Matt Haas. Big run down the front straightaway. I thought we might see a crossover move into 1. Ooh, he's going to try and get there. Contact between himself and Gardner as Gardner nearly loses it. Hangs on to it, though. We're still okay. We're still racing. We're still green somehow, some way. But Matt Haas is hounding, I can't say the back bumper because these cars don't have a back bumper, but hounding the rear end of that 2 car. We may not be over with the leaders wrecking at the front of the field. And now Jacob Rose makes it a 3-man fight here up at the front of the field. Cole Baker just riding there in the 4th position. Eli Bright there in the 5th spot. And now Noah Karas has been passed for 6th. Kev Shearer taking the spot. Karas now drops back into the 7th position. 4 laps to go here at Phoenix. Top 3, you could throw a blanket over them, and here comes Matt Haas taking another look. A good run there into turn 2. Again, he gets into Gardner, and this time Gardner almost completely loses it. Brings it back up. He's not happy, and he just wrecked Matt Haas. Caution's going to wave again. This race may be over. Tempers flaring, and Jacob Rose will lead us back to the line. He may have just won this race under caution. That's the 2nd time that Matt Haas got into Gardner's left rear quarter panel. That time he literally almost wrecked him, and I don't think Gardner appreciated it. He drove Matt Haas up into the wall. Gardner paid the price for it, though. He's the one that went around, but tempers flaring here in the closing stages of this race. The heat of the racetrack, the heat of the weather around here is nothing compared to the heat that is on the racetrack right now between the 2 and the 28. And that just literally handed over potentially this race win to Jacob Rose in the 5 car. Matt Haas able to continue in 4th, but Gardner finds himself facing the wrong way and at the rear of the field. Let's take a look at that one more time before we come back for the checkered flag. Now let's remember, this is the second time this happened. It happened a couple laps earlier, and there you see he's going to get into the left rear of Johnny Gardner. Gardner this time almost snaps loose. The car goes down practically to the apron. And then he's going to bring it back up the racetrack. Matt Haas going to stick it to the outside, and Gardner going to prove a point, moves up, and just flat out puts Matt Haas in the wall. And the thing I just don't understand about this is Gardner twice nearly got wrecked, yes, but both times he saved it, and both times he was able to keep the 28 behind him. Gardner very well could have still defended to win this race, and for a driver that comes into this race dead last in points, you'd think that an over-aggressive block like that might be something he might not want to do, but as a result, he ends up being the one that's turned around and wrecked into the outside wall as the driver he tried to wreck continues on, and looks like he'll finish in the top 5, but man, what an unbelievable way to finish out this race, and it wasn't even over. He then gets hit from behind by his teammate Mason Wood in the 12, so not only does it basically end his chances of a good finish, but then he ends up having a teammate get involved as well in the incident. Boy, what a fireworks show here to end off this race at Phoenix, and Jacob Rose is about ready to come around and take his first checkered flag of the season. Well, the old cliche, right place, right time, could very easily apply to one Jacob Rose. Finished 6th last week at St. Petersburg. Today he will finish P1 as the 2 leaders ahead of him were involved in a wreck. Jacob Rose, his first win of the season, takes the checkered flag here today at Phoenix International Raceway. Cole Baker will bring it home 2nd, 3rd for Eli Bright. Even though he was involved in that wreck, Matt Haas will finish in 4th, and pole sitter Kev Shearer brings it home 5th. The points leader, Noah Kars, ends up in 6th place. Standing should be official. What a wild day it has been here at Phoenix. 7th was Jordan Lopez. Zach Flickinger brings it home in 8th. Pichu London in 9th, and Carson Gum will complete the top 10. Jay Jefferson finishes in 11th. Charles Jackson in 12th. Chris Dodd in 13th. And then the Penske cars limp at home. Mason Wood in 14th, and Johnny Gardner will finish 15th. Matthew Rodriguez finished a lap down in 16th. Jake Rogers also off the lead lap in 17th. And then we had 5 cars finish out of the race. Tripatak Gubernio, Nathan Ormond, Austin LaPlante, Alexander Rowe, and Jonathan Zorlin. So that is going to do it here today for our race at Phoenix International Raceway. Race number 2 is in the books. We will see you guys next week as we have Long Beach, another road course, on tap for you at race number 3. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Phoenix. Jacob Rose taking the checkered flag. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to come part of the crew today. We're showing your full finish results, and these are your point standings heading to next week's race at Long Beach Raceway. Till then, I'm Seth Cole signing off. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, Offline Racing at its best.